Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Suckling on the teat of tech.
With Paul Brislen.
Yes, talking high tech with Paul Brislen this morning. Good morning to you, Paul. How you doing?
Good morning. Jolly good. How are you?
Very good. A few stories to race through this morning. First up, RFIDs. A bit of controversy surrounding these in Germany. Tell us what they are, though.
That's right. So RFIDs, it's radio frequency ID tags. And basically, it's a way of, they're originally mooted for, as a replacement for barcodes on supermarket goods.
Yeah.
So that basically, instead of having to pick it up and physically scan with a laser, this thing is a bit like those swipe cards you use to get in and out of secure buildings. It's done over the radio waves. So it's a nice idea for your bean cans, but what the powers that be have started doing, of course, is putting them into passports and ID cards, because it means you can walk into a passport office, for example, you hand over your card, and because it's got all this information embedded in a chip in your smart passport that's wirelessly accessible, the passport contains a lot more information than just a pretty picture of yourself and a copy of your signature. All so good so far, but the problem is, how hackable is it? Can you, in fact, walk past somebody in the street and steal their ID by waving a wand? And the naysayers would say, yes, you can, and the government's busy saying, oh, no, of course not, poo. Well, there's a German outfit, National Radio in Germany, which has just signed up with a hacker group called the Computer Chaos Club. Yep. And they have managed to do just that with a fairly basic-looking RFID reader, break the encryption and copy somebody's fingerprints and their 6-digit PIN, which is supposed to be so super secret safe, so that you can do all your government transactions and online purchasing and whatnot. And they took them about half an hour to get access to it.
That is more than slightly concerning, because
it is a little bit, isn't it? Because how's your passport? When did you get yours done last?
Well, mine's still the old school. It hasn't got a chip in it at all. But don't all the New Zealand ones have all our biometric information inside these chips?
Yes, they do. Yes, and I don't know what level of encryption they use in New Zealand, but apparently, given what's happening here and what The Guardian did a few years ago with one of the UK passports, I would be quite concerned, because of course you don't actually have to read the information to get information off a passport chip. All you have to do is be able to identify it as a particular type of chip and say, that passport is held by an American, or that passport is held by a New Zealander.
I've got to say,
when you're talking about security risks, that's probably quite a big problem.
I was going to say, Paul, that this doesn't look like, in the German situation, they're not passports, but the government ID cards.
That's right. So this is the government ID card, the equivalent of our driver's license, which has become a sort of default, identification. It's got a photo. It's got this biometric, this RFID tag, which has biometric information. Yeah. And Germans need it. They've been shipped all across Germany with a little reader. So what you do is you plug the reader into your laptop, and then you can do online government services and things like that that you would normally have to go and queue up for. So things like paying your rates, renewing your car registration, that kind of thing. Being Germany, of course, is all very efficient, and now they're doing it online. But of course, if it's not secure, you probably aren't hiding to nothing.
What do you reckon? This is one step removed from getting the chip and placed under your skin at birth?
Well, we don't need to even bother with that. We know where you all are right now. We've all got cell phones, haven't we? We track your everything.
Oh, is that right, Paul? Put that harness on now.
I probably shouldn't mention that, should I? But think about it. It's got a SIM card in it. That's basically the same kind of chip that you will get in your credit cards in the future. It's got a wireless interface. It's called a cell phone. And you carry it with you everywhere you go. And the network has to know where you are to connect to it. So, how far, you don't need to embed them. We're doing it ourselves.
Well, that's right. Well, that's certainly something to keep an eye on and be perhaps a little bit concerned about.
Certainly worth raising, yes.
Yeah. Now, big VoIP giant Skype. Looks like that they might be bought out by Cisco, possibly.
Yes. Skype is in the throes of putting together an IPO. That is what the Americans call an initial public offering. So they're listed on the stock exchange. They reckon they're worth about $5 billion, but before they've actually got organised completely, Cisco has apparently made them an offer they may not be able to refuse. So $5 billion, only, 18 months after they were sold for $1.9 billion. This is American dollars as well, so it's proper money. This is a lot of money for, in effect, 560 million users who don't pay a penny, and 8 million users who do pay, but not very much.
Well, am I only one of the 8 million?
8 million worldwide, out of 560 million. So the business case is a bit awkward for a lot of companies because they'll try to make money off each phone call. But Cisco, for those who don't know, makes the equipment that runs the internet.
Yeah.
It's all the backbone stuff, the really big architecture, the big iron that keeps the bits flowing across the world. And for them, it's not so much a case of, hey, why don't we have a cell phone? Why don't we have a phone company and make voice calls? And gee, that video thing looks really cool. I think it's more a case of let's increase usage of this thing so that we increase data going across the network, so that phone companies around the world buy our gear more often.
Well, but it also makes sense for the end user, the consumer, where Cisco make VoIP phones as well.
Well, they do, and Cisco, you'll notice in much the same way that Apple appears in every single TV show and movie that appears on our screens. If you ever have a look at all the desk phones that are in American films, they're all Cisco IP phones.
Yeah.
And they are pretty much ubiquitous in U.S. government these days, and certainly there was a big move here with them a few years ago. Cisco's pushing that, and also Skype does very nicely with video compression technology, and Cisco's really into that at the moment, doing video conferencing, and they're trying to break into that market. So by buying Skype, hopefully they would tick a lot of boxes with one purchase. Yeah, and that's the theory anyway.
As a consumer, I'd like to see more VoIP phones for consumers rather than businesses on the market, because at the moment I'm looking for a Skype phone, a separate phone that I don't need to plug into the computer, that can just plug into my router at home and that works off the Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
But I'm finding it hard to find at a good price in New Zealand.
They're quite expensive, aren't they? So that would be the idea, is that Cisco would drive that down into the consumer market using Skype as the right platform for them. So you're quite right. That's a whole another layer, another kettle of fish.
It is.
And Cisco would love it. So I think I think that's likely to happen. Google apparently made a bit of a play for it, but was frightened off by the idea of the regulator in the US saying, "Oh, hang on, you're getting a bit big for your boots there," and they have launched basically Skype-like service on Google in the last couple of weeks. We talked about it last week.
And
so
it works.
Everybody's moving into this space. You've had a go. It works.
It works. I managed to phone a landline. The person answered. I talked. They answered back. It works.
And before you knew it, you were done. It's quite astounding, isn't it? It's, who knew the voice was the future of telecommunications?
Exactly. Hey, thanks very much, Paul.
Anytime.
Paul Brislen on Twitter as well. Twitter.com/Paul Brislen. Time now here on Kiwi.